folks, thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all doing okay today. So I want to tell a funny story that happened back when I was working at the car dealership. Now, I was in sales from roughly November of 2011 to November of 2012. I was excellent with communicating with people, talking to people, getting them to like the car. I was not the best salesman when it came to actually closing, shutting down objections, and getting them to buy a car. As an example, my personal taste in owning vehicles is the cheapest or smallest thing that you can afford that works for what you're wanting that vehicle to do, and then drive it till the tires fall off and it's paid off, rinse, wash, repeat. So I always had difficulty closing the people that were, buying a car new, trading in something they were upside down in, driving it for a year or two, putting a crap load of miles in it, and then trading in more negative equity. I had a hard time with stuff like that, and that's very common, unfortunately. Well, anyway, one of the more memorable customers I ever had, don't remember her name, a woman came in. She was driving a 2011 or 2012 Focus. It was current model year. Had very low miles on it for, a commuter type car. I would have expected it to have twice that on it. The thing had like 8,000 to 12,000 miles on it, so nothing substantial. I walk out and I'm expecting her to need, the parts desk or the service counter or something like that. I'm like, my name's Marshall Porter. Is there something I can help you with? She goes, yes, there is. I want to look at Mustangs. I said, okay, I'll do everything I can to help you with that. Is there any specific options that you needed? Or, what were you, what were you looking for? She's like, I want a convertible, I want the V8, and I want an automatic. What do you know? We had one of those sitting out on the front line, looking real pretty, ruby red metallic, beautiful color, or candy apple red. I forget which color they ran that year. Beautiful color car. It was a base model, but it did have a couple of the upgrades, like the Bluetooth connectivity and stuff. Bear in mind, 2012, that wasn't the most common thing on mass production vehicles at the time. So she's like, this is perfect. I would like to go for a ride in this. I said, absolutely. Let me go grab a set of keys. Go in, grab a set of keys. I said, here you go, ma'am. Let me get this vehicle out of its spot, and then you're more than welcome to drive it wherever you want to go. That was kind of our company policy. So she's like, no, I will hop in, you get the car out, and we will go for a ride, because I've never driven a car before I owned it. She's like, my husband drives them, or the salesman drives them. Yes, ma'am, that's fine with me. I'll drive you wherever you want to go. So there was a nice loop that involved some streets that were more open than like downtown streets or busy surface streets, so like a big bypass around town. And then there's actually a couple miles of interstate that you can go from the north to the south end of town, where I lived at the time, where I worked. So I take her down this bypass road, and so this woman, I found out later that she's 59 years old, and so I'm not wanting to scare her. I'm wanting to give her, a nice, comfortable ride in a Mustang GT convertible. We're going down this bypass road. It's 4 lanes with a turning lane. It's not a great place to do anything silly, we'll say it that way. And she goes, well, aren't you going to gun it? And I'm already doing like 50, 52, so within 10% of the speed limit in either direction. And I go, I can if you want me to. She goes, yes, please. And so I floor it, and this thing downshifts and comes to life, and we go taking off just like you'd expect the car would, with 420 horsepower and that weighs 3,400 pounds. We moved right on out, and she's giggling in the passenger seat. Okay, that's a pretty cool woman. So I'm taking her up, and I get on the interstate, and she goes, please, please, go, 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 go. And I just go for it. And she's not wanting to drive this car at all. I've made more than was a convenient place to pull off for her to switch me seats, and she wasn't having getting behind the driver's seat of this car. Wasn't scaring her at all. She just wasn't getting behind the wheel of it. So I go make the loop around town. I got on it real good getting on the interstate. I'm impressed. I want to buy the car probably more than she does because I've always had a thing for Mustangs. And not necessarily convertibles, but I love them. So we loop around town, get back to the dealership, get a deal put together, and the short version of the story is she ends up purchasing this car. Get all of her stuff out of her Focus, loaded over from the Focus into the Mustang that she just bought. I have it gassed up, I have it detailed, got a paper tag on it, she's signing paperwork, everything's loaded up, life is good, ready to go. Well, the thing that struck me as hilarious is she pulls out of the parking lot of our dealership, 59-year-old woman who had just bought a car, loaded with all of her stuff, sideways. And I'm giggling at that, because I just thought that was so funny how much she was goading me on while I'm driving her car, or what is likely to be her car. And then she goes and peels out tires in the car. So anyway, that's one of the Mustang stories from the Swope Ford dealership. I'm going to edit that out of there.